Hello everyone, and welcome to Board on a Shelf. Today we are going to be talking about the top 6 board game accessories that I use pretty frequently whenever I play board games. So these are things that I use while I'm playing games, things that I think aren't necessarily essential to enjoy a board game, but things that I typically always include or use to make my games better if I can. So this video is going to be really short. I just want to share with you some things that I do. If you have any things that you use, comment them, tell other people, because I'm always looking for ways to make my board game experience better, and hopefully this helps you make your board game experience better. So let's get started. So the first thing I'm going to talk about today is something that I use in pretty much any board game, especially Euro games, games with a lot of pieces. And I know a lot of people use them, and I've used a bunch of different types, but these specific types, this specific type is the one that I use the most and the one that I love the most. So these are resource holders, any sort of token holding vessel that you need to put around the board to keep things more organized and looking good. So right now I have Nova Roma set up on the table because Paul and I are going to learn this later tonight, and I'm actually using them right now to play this game. So this is coins that are in this bowl. Little coins. Oh, oops. But yeah, I use these in almost every game that I have that uses resources, which for me is most of them. I have a bunch of them. I have 8. I have 4 more right here that are empty. But the reason I like these so much is because they're clear and they're rounded. So a lot of the times when I see like resource containers, they have like square bottoms or they're colored, and those are fine, you know. Use those. Any resource container is good, but the reason I specifically use these clear glass ones is because they're glass, so they feel nice, and they're clear, so I can see what's in there, and it doesn't look like I have resource things on the table. It doesn't, because they're clear, it doesn't feel like it takes up table space, if that makes sense. You can see through them, and they don't look like the table doesn't feel cluttered because of them. But yeah, I got these from the dollar store, so you can get them for very cheap. I don't know if they're still at the dollar store. I got these about a year ago. But yeah, the Dollar Tree had a pack of 4 for $1, so I just got 2 packs. So if you can find these little glass cups, they're also good. Like, I think they're like condiment cups, I think is what they are. So they're made for ketchup, but I use them for board game things. But these are by far my most used accessory. They just make everything easier, clean up easier, make the table look nicer. So yeah, highly recommend these. Next up is not something that I use during a game, but it's something that I use before and after, and that is a storage solution, which is very simple but very important: baggies. So baggies keep all your components organized in the box, and it can be a little overwhelming because you open the box and there's a bunch of bags everywhere. But to make that experience better, I use a label maker, which is right here. This is the one that I use. Label maker. This one my friend Jalen got for me as a Christmas present, so thank you, Jalen, you know me very well. And I think it's the most use I've ever gotten out of a Christmas present. I use it for every game. So like for Nova Roma, actually, I have bags with labels on them. So blue player pieces, special estates, you know, I just label everything. And the reason I do that, before I started using the label maker, cleanup would take a while because I would just put everything in bags. When I'm setting it up, take everything out of the bags, and it'd be a little bit of a struggle sometimes to figure out which bag something went in. So there's no questioning it. You're like, oh, this is the coin bag, you know, and it's just really easy to clean up. Before I started labeling them, I actually would like leave a single coin in the bag or leave a single meatball in the bag. So not everything was taken out of the box, so I remember what went in the bags. The label maker makes it way easier because I can see where everything goes, and it's super simple. And the bags don't seem overwhelming anymore. It feels like it's organized. Plus, I prefer to use bags instead of inserts anyways, because if the box falls over, or if I have it standing up pretty, like some of these games behind me, I want to show it off, I don't have to worry about things falling out. They're all contained in bags, and the bags are labeled, so easy. Plus, label makers have other uses other than board games. I label things around the house, just in general. So label makers are just good investments. I actually I'm going to show you some examples of bags that aren't labeled. So this is also something you can do, just like Sharpieing these, I don't know if you can see them. Putting Sharpie on bags, which is totally fine, but I Since I started the hobby, I have never bought bags. I have used bags from other board games, and they've just gotten me through over 200 games. So if you want to reuse your bags, label makers are really good, because if you sell the game, you can take the labels off. Or if you want to switch bags, you can pull the labels off, whatever you want. The bags aren't ruined now because you Sharpied them. So bags and labels, one that I use all the time. Next up, this one will be quick. This is just play mats. I used to just play on my table, and obviously that works. Most of these are just things that make the gaming experience better, not a necessity. So I have a board game tables table mat, which is great. It has bounce to it. It's really nice. But what makes these so special is you don't have to really worry about the table being dirty to ruin any components, which is something that I'm always worried about. Like if I'm taking a game somewhere else, can we wipe down the table first? I don't want to ruin my game. But with the board game mats, if I take a mat, or so that my place in my game room, the mat's out. So it just takes care of your game a little bit. It also makes the experience just feel luxury, which is nice. You know, people come over and they're like, oh wow, this is fancy. Like, it just changes the mood a little bit. But one thing that I really like about it is picking up cards off of the table. Like, you know, everybody knows this. Whenever a card is like not coming off the table and you're using your nail and you're like picking it up and it's bending the card and chipping the edge or wearing it. With the board game mats or the table mats, you can easily pick up cards. There's enough squish to it. So cards don't get damaged. It just takes care of everything much better. So table mats, good. The next thing that I used to be way more crazy about than I am now, but I still use it, so I wanted to share it with you, is card sleeves. So card sleeves for me, when I was first getting into the hobby, were like essential. Every game was sleeved. I spent way too much money on sleeving games, but what's nice about that is it did protect the cards, and whenever I would sell a game, I was confident that it was still in great condition, because cards get worn down all the time. You know, shuffling, handling, not everyone holds cards the same, so I know that I'm very careful and I don't bend the cards. But if I'm playing with somebody who doesn't play a lot of games or doesn't care, which isn't a bad thing, some people just don't care that much, they don't think about it. So they're like smacking cards on the table, or it's in their hand and they're like bending it while they're talking, they just might not know. And sleeves give that extra support to the card and protection to help keep damage away from your card. So I used to use them a lot more than I do now, but I still use them. However, I'm pickier about where I use them because not all games need them. So I will use them for games that are handled a lot. So like if you're playing a game that shuffles the deck a lot and deals cards to people, and people are holding cards in their hand or passing cards, that's the game. Those are the games that I sleeve, you know, if people are going to be handling the cards a lot, or if the cards are moving around a lot. But a lot of like Euro games that aren't card driven, where the cards are just like on a market, or you acquire a card and you put it in front of you and it stays there, I don't sleeve them because the cards really aren't moving around that much, so I don't need to do that. So yeah, card sleeves are something that I use a lot, but not all the time. But when they're useful, they are useful. So card sleeves I highly recommend, especially if you want to keep your games in good condition, because you might play it a lot and want to sell it later, and you want to make sure that when it goes to the next person, everything's in good condition. So card sleeves. Next up is definitely something that is not essential at all, but just makes the experience more tactile, and it makes everything feel realer. I don't know, it's more immersive, and that is deluxe coins. So deluxe coins are something that I kind of was opposed to for a while, because I was like, I don't want to go down the rabbit hole. I don't want to get deluxe coins because then I want them for every game, and I'm fine with cardboard coins, right? So like I showed you earlier, like Nova Roma, it has these coins and they're cardboard and they work. There's nothing wrong with them. But if you replace them with some metal coins, if you replace them with some metal, it just makes your money feel more valuable, and it just makes the game feel realer. Like it makes it feel like you're actually spending money to buy these things, and it's nice. It's just like, you know, something you like move around in your hands when you're thinking about spending something, you know, like you see people playing poker and they're like shuffling their poker chips constantly. There's just something about it that scratches my brain in the right way, and I feel like when I bring out coins, people just enjoy it. So coins are definitely one of those things that you don't need, but if you get them, like you'll appreciate it. So one thing that I did, Paul, for my birthday, got me the coins that I just showed you, these ones. So these coins are for 5 tribes. So they're really pretty. They have a 5 on one side and nothing on the other, but they're really useful. They sound nice. And the cool thing is that they're in denominations of 5 and 1. And so for games like Nova Roma, for a lot of Euro games, when the denominations are smaller, like you're only spending 5, 10 coins at a time, I can use these for other games. But like I do have some for specific games. Like I have this one right here. This is for Merchants of the Dark Road. And the reason I got these ones, is because I just like the design of the coins. Like the coins are beautiful. So having metal, beautiful coins just for this game, it's just nice. I also really like the game. I like the whole aesthetic of the game. I have all the upgrades for that game, so I had to get the coins. But in general, like the 5 Tribes coins I use a lot. And I have these guys. Ooh, the Roxley Iron Clays that were made specifically for brass. But I use them, we use them for Arc Nova, mostly. Arc Nova and brass is basically what we use them for. But those are nice because they're poker chips essentially, and people just like poker chips, and they click, and they're nice, and they're beautiful. So it's kind of fun when you're in a game and you're spending money and you're like sliding poker chips across the table. There's just something fun about that. So deluxe coins or the Iron Clays, poker chips, it just adds a nice little element to the game that's familiar to people, like holding money that feels like a coin or sliding poker chips. Not essential, again, but very fun. So coins. Lastly is a storage solution for smaller board games. I wish I could remember where I saw this. I think it was on TikTok. I wish I could give them credit. If I remember, it's probably so far back in my legs. But it is a photo case that I got from Michael's, and it is very awesome for storing smaller games, and I highly, highly, highly recommend this, because if you go to a place where you're not sure which game to take, you can take this whole case of games and you can be like, oh, you guys probably playing a small card game, something quick? Like, here's all the options, which ones stand out to you. And this is what it looks like. And it's not even full, so it still has options to grow. But this is the photo case. It's nice. You can carry it. You can hold it like a briefcase. But, is this upside down? Yeah. So here's the games that I have in mind. And yeah, you can just pop it open. You can just pop it open and take out a game like Love Letter, and it comes out in these little cases. So yeah, and you just open it and you can play it and you just put it back in here, and I have them all labeled, label maker, and then you just pop it in and it slots in. This isn't how I would normally hold it. Yeah, so this is something I highly, highly, highly recommend, actually. This has been great. Like, whenever I go over to my parents' house, I'm like, they want to play something small. I know that. I'll just bring this whole thing. So yeah, this is great. It looks like a library of games. It's very sweet. Photo case. All right, so that's all I'm going to talk about in this video. I hope you enjoyed it. These are all things that I just use a lot. Again, not essential. If you're getting into board gaming, you don't need to get these things. But if you do, it's fun and it makes the experience better. And I'm always looking for ways to make cleanup, tear down, setup, playing the game easier and more enjoyable. And these things do that for me. So if you have those sorts of things, please leave a comment. I want to know more. These are only 6 things that I use. There's more, and maybe I'll make another video about those in the future, but these are the ones that I use the most right now. So thanks for watching. Hope you come back for another video, and see ya.